Hello everyone! Welcome back to TRI's Top 100 Crypto Review, TRI Crypto Countdown. TRI, after a year doing this, we still don't have the name of this show right. I don't know what the hell it's called. But anyway, welcome back to our fun show. All about crypto. Spend a couple hours just looking at some price charts. We'll see whether my panel can help me learn a little bit more fundamentally about some of these stories that we're kicking around. And I don't know. We'll get into the prediction business. See if we could help you out with maybe a view of what we're seeing in the market, and maybe a big old dose of PMA too. So, welcome back to the Frivolity. It is episode. Where are we here? Episode 47. So I guess there's 52 weeks in a year, right? So we're coming up. Was it a year ago? Was it middle of last summer that we started this? I can't even remember. Well, I guess it must have been, eh? Anyway, my name is Brian Beamish. This is the rationalinvestor.com, our website. Let's see, where's the best place to show you this? Where's our dashboard? Dashboard. Tastes great. Oh, I thought I had it on here. No, I guess it's over here. So this is our fun website, and actually Sjord just sent me a message tonight saying one of our users actually took my old 1980s website and he brought it into the 21st century here and actually put it on like a WordPress platform. And Sjord now has said that he has ported it over to the website, and so we have new tools for us to add to the dashboard. And if anything, what I'm kind of hoping is everybody who does decide to come on the website, give us 30-day trial. We have a basic sort of template overview page. Everybody just gets access to that, and then ideally I'd like to show you the value in having all of these extra tabs part of your trader acumen. Make good decisions. Actually, I was really impressed. Josh was saying that he was trading away with the breadth indicator, and he even went on vacation, and he was in a position on Bitcoin, and he was stopped out. Trailing stop got him out, but hey, he just keeps making money trading with this thing. So super proud of Josh in that regard, and hopefully over the next 6-8 months I can show you more and more how to use these tools. As well too, and this is something that you almost never see. Actually, no, before we get into that. Actually, you know what? Before we get into that, what we should say is I have two co-hosts with me, and it's awfully negligent of me not to introduce them. So, first and foremost, and our one remaining OGer, my other OG's bailed. Nick, I know you're watching, but you still bailed on us, man. Anyway, just kidding. Love you, babe, and you're always, of course, welcome back. And Derek, too, PMA, best wishes. I hope you're doing okay. Love your Franklin Wireless stock there, Derek, if you are in the market. God, that stock looks awesome here. But anyway, let's take a moment and introduce my co-host, Ben, who is one of my originals. He's been here the whole time, all 47 weeks. How are you doing this evening, Ben?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Excellent.
Happy to be here.
Good. And actually, I heard that at the very end of last show, I think I heard you say that you decided, first off, you took advantage of the low prices a year or two ago and locked in the education program, which is probably smart because this crazy hyperinflation world, holy moly. But I heard that you decided to do the level 2 program this term. Is that correct?
Yep. So I've carved out a little bit of time, and so this week been learning all about resistance,
horizontal support and resistance. Are you
support
tricking out your charts? Actually, it'd be kind of cool to see if you feel like sharing your homework and sharing some of the work that you've done.
I haven't shared it with Kiran yet and got any feedback, so it might be. It looks like a dog's breakfast to me, but who knows? We can put it up on the screen and.
Yeah, well, and actually in the lecture, I think I tell you about Griss's matrix, one of my old prop firm trading buddies. And he used to live by horizontal support and resistance, and that's all he did.
Right.
So anyway, good to hear that you're in the program working away. And hopefully we'll add a whole bunch of new fun tools for you to analyze the market going forward.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Awesome.
Excited.
And my other co-host here this evening, a relatively new member, but from what I see on Discord and on social media, he's tearing up a storm. I think he has 432,000 followers now. He's just killing it in the market. Paul, how you doing this evening?
Good morning.
Actually, not this evening. It's he's in Eastern Europe. It's still the middle of the night for the poor guy.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway, good morning, sir. How are you today?
Good morning. Just wake up and watching the chat.
All right. So, as I said, the good part about guys who are just traders is they're just in the trenches, just doing their thing. And, if you get on a hot streak, holy moly, you're going to have the world beat a path to your door. There was one gentleman on YouTube who seems to be pretty popular these days, and his followers just have exploded recently. So it just goes to show you get pretty good at your craft, and social media beat a path to your door, that's for sure. This is our weekly crypto show we do in the evenings. Don't even know if there's going to be anybody even watching. I don't really like to tout, and I certainly don't like to shill. And actually, there's a number of exercises that we do that kind of clearly demonstrate why I don't like people to get into the prediction business. So in a weird sort of way, there's not a lot of glitz and glam to this kind of show. But at the same time, too, try to give you a pretty straightforward, pretty honest approach to price action and the markets. Me personally, I believe that there is a time to participate in the market, and there's a time just to leave everything alone and let the dust settle. And unfortunately, we're in with regard specifically to venture capital and the venture capital part of the speculating business, we're in one of those, better cool your jets kind of environments. And unfortunately, anybody who has participated in the Bitcoin space over the past, 5-10 years understands a very powerful cyclic nature of Bitcoin price action. And unfortunately, we're in part of the cycle that's not really very friendly to the bulls. But the good part about it, and if you're diligent and if you have a whole bunch of powder dry, you should be able to take advantage of deep bear markets setting up tomorrow's bull market. And it just goes back and forth, back and forth. What you really want to try and avoid in this game is chasing. And you want to try and avoid buying up markets, because then that way you can get trapped bag holding for what seems like an eternity. So there is our backdrop. This is interesting. I've been sort of blabbing away here on social media about, and I find it fascinating. It's not really Bitcoin related, but I think it is important for you guys, especially if you consider yourself a student of the market. I'm actually going back and watching lectures from Milton Friedman from back in the 1970s. And I have to say, I'm quite shocked at basically the exact same argument that he's making here, why they had runaway inflation in the 1970s, is almost identical to why we have this runaway inflation right now. Really simply put, big government is bad. You get big government, they do these crazy over-the-top spending programs. They label it, the CARES Act. So it must be good. And really, I might argue that half of the inflation pressures that we see today are just because these bureaucrats that sadly nobody has control over, they're just runaway spending. And it's like we head into this sort of societal crisis around this healthcare issue, and it's like they're like, hey, all rules are off, all limitations are off. We can do any old damn thing we want. And the end result, of course, is you go to the grocery store and now people can't buy a loaf of bread. But thank you, politicians. And in my country, in Canada, it's over the top bad. At least down in the States, and I have to say I'm actually pretty impressed. Somebody that I just responded to here in Twitter, at least down in the States, like grandma here, at least she's acknowledging that they got it wrong. In my country, with this really weird dictator who didn't even get a majority vote in the last election, he's convinced that what he's doing is actually right. And, this whole sort of woke society, he's putting into government positions people that have no experience on the job and literally blowing up the capital stock of our country. And this is like a G7 country. And there's no accountability to the guy. So at the very least, and again, I've said this before, I respect the Americans, because at least the Americans, they're going to hold this lady to the fire and say, hey, did you get this wrong? And she's like, yeah, I got it wrong. So at least that's a good thing. Now, what I said to this gentleman is, did they actually really get it wrong? And this opens up a huge can of worms. Conspiracy theory, tinfoil hats, and the whole thing. Ironically enough, this bankster-driven society, emperor's new clothes, that kind of thing, it has to have this inflation. It can't work. You cannot have deficit spending governments without this inflation. And of course, the banksters, and she's a career bankster, the banksters, their whole business model is based on inflation. It has to have inflation or the banks can't turn a profit. So there's always the debate. But at least I like the fact that some reporter actually holds her feet to the fire and she said, yep, we got it wrong. So that's good to see. But as I sort of started this all off, really, this is actually extremely simple. It's just there's some silly reason in our modern day society, we don't bother teaching kids simple things like money supply is inflation. You crank up the money supply, you're going to crank up inflation. What a surprise. Anyway, so there is the 1970s image. And do yourself a favor and go watch Mr. Friedman. Great speech. I mean, boring as hell if you don't like economics, but spot on. Absolutely nailed it. And inflation is entirely a monetary condition. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Anyway, so tinfoil hats, maybe we'll put that away for now. As for crypto, and actually, this is the one thing I really like about TRI is that we have basically a really robust community here. And the community is constantly sharing resources. And I'm the type of person where I don't really like to say, well, you're right, you're wrong, and, that's just the way it is. I like to hear everybody's perspective and then sort of glean like the general message. Thought it was interesting. Mr. Williams here puts out some free videos on stockcharts.com. And unfortunately, and he's probably a really good proxy for sort of like, we'll call them legacy investors. I think he's about 70, 80 years old now. And he did actually weigh in on things like the Bitcoin cycle. And I think, I'd be curious, what the hell is that chart that he had in here? I'd be curious as to where, or not where, but what chart he's actually using to analyze Bitcoin. Because his chart, I can't remember where the hell is it, somewhere in all this. The chart that he was using actually showed that Bitcoin made a lower high in late last year. So that had me a little bit scratching my head. No, that's not it. Darn. Anyway, another good video. It's about 20 minutes long. We 25 minutes. We heard from Mr. Williams back at the beginning of the year, and I think on balance, he had generally the message correct. That's the old decennial pattern. Let's see if I can show you that. Kind of wasting time here, guys. Sorry. I'll just get through this. Where's his decennial chart? I know you're around here somewhere. I guess, yeah, there's the Bitcoin chart. So now this surprised me. I wonder why he's using this chart. So, I don't remember I thought we went to new highs there. at the end of 2021. We didn't have a lower shoulder here. I'm not quite sure what he's actually using here. But anyway, you can see that that he's not overly impressed with things like Bitcoin. And frankly speaking, everybody should look at that. You should see the big M in price. And we all know how this 4-year cycle goes. In fact, actually, we spent a lot of time last week studying the Bitcoin chart. So I don't think we need to really drill too much into that this week. Then I also, thank you, Ben. So Ben says this is the Grayscale BTC Trust. So this is actually, this is an OTC stock. So yeah, you see it right on there. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust BTC. So I don't know whether I really believe that. I'm a little surprised that he used that chart in particular, but nonetheless. So the other video that I wanted to make reference to, and it's kind of a fun video. I mean, the guy's definitely a character. I don't necessarily know whether, and I think he, like I said, everybody has got something to share, and really all I suggest is you just go out and watch. These are some of the videos that have caught my attention over the past week or two, and that was this guy. And, he's got like 100, 200, 300, 400,000 followers, so it looks like he's doing pretty good. And he's made a pretty damn big prediction here, 9670 by August 2022. As I sort of said here, I don't know whether it's in our best interest to get into the prediction game, but just understand that there are people out there that are kind of thinking, this thing needs to come back down to earth. And I kind of like this guy's thinking, because if we look at the various cycles, and actually, why don't we pull that back up here? Where is that? And I actually just updated this chart again because I thought it was so cool. Yeah, here. If we look at the Bitcoin cycles, you'll notice that can't really comment on 2010, but notice 2014, correction year. Blah. 2018, blah, what a mess. And look how similar those years look, eh? And I think that this is sort of the market that we're in right now. In fact, I think we're kind of like in this window right here, or maybe like right here. You see where it says May. So, oh boy, that's what we got to look forward to. This would assume that this correction is actually going to be very orderly, and it's going to be very friendly, and it's actually going to be long, slow, natural bear. But notice, if we were following sort of this previous cycle, 14, 18, notice 2016, nice healthy bull, right? You can see the base. 2015 is a base. I think 2016 halving event starts somewhere in here. This is what I like to consider like the bull. And then 2017, everything went absolutely haywire. And I think this is what happens with crypto, is that as we head into this blow-off year following the halving event, this is all the people loading up on the event into the halving event, and then of course the following year is an absolutely blow-off top. So you notice basically the same thing happened. 18, big sort of unwinding of that crazy-ass bull, the base of 2019, and then interestingly enough here, of course, this is the sickness right here and the panic in the market. I actually think that caught the market off guard. But you can see there's 2020. It looks pretty similar to 16. Looks pretty similar to 12. But it did go a little bit nutso into the end of the year. Maybe I think even a bit too much. I don't know. But you notice that instead of like 13, huge bull, and a lot recently I've been making the comparison of this year and 2013. But notice, and this is what sort of perplexed me about Mr. Williams using that Bitcoin chart where it showed a lower high, and Ben helped me out there because he's using the OTC stock down in the States. But you notice that we went to new highs here, just barely, right? If it was the same as 13, it would have been, huge. And what was really interesting about this is you remember through this, of course, everybody was going, this time it's different. There was that Benjamin Graham guy, and then Willie Woo. You guys ever hear of Willy Woo? Is he still popular in the crypto space? Ben, Paul, do you guys ever listen to that guy?
It's a bit quiet now, but it's still online.
All right.
You can find it on Twitter.
All right. Thank you, Paul. A lot of them got really disappointed here, right? And what was really interesting through this window last year was I remember distinctly there was one gentleman who has micro strategies, loaded up ridiculous amounts, went and did equity financings of his stock to buy more Bitcoins up top here, which I thought was just crazy. But anyway, he sort of got into a shouting match with the U.S. Federal Reserve banking system guys. I don't think that's in any of our best interest to go to war with those kind of people. And I think that those people, they crushed Bitcoin. And unfortunately, I think those kind of people were the ones that destroyed Luna here there about a month or so ago. Same sorts of people. They're the 1%. They're the ones that control our society. And I think that they actually started to feel threatened by crypto and started to feel threatened by Bitcoin. And they've made it their single-handed task to destroy the hearts and minds of crypto enthusiasts. The irony of all of this, though, is that this is not when you're supposed to be bullish of Bitcoin. So anybody who was coming in and FOMO buying up here, you're an idiot. And of course, that's always going to drive lots of subscriptions, eh? Brian, it's not healthy for you to sit there and call your audience idiots. But, God, I mean, geez, I've been through this. The good part about it is, and this is a good commentary on my life in the market. Because I started out in the late 1980s. And, of course, that was in a very analog world. And my first job in the stock market was at a credit control desk. In essence, we liquidated people that were under margin. So I've seen it all in this business, and I actually made it my goal. I could have very easily pigeonholed myself. Back in the early 90s, I was set up with a guy who at that point had like a $50 million book. If I had just been his bitch, I'd probably be a millionaire now easily, many times over. But I made it my goal that I was going to learn everything about the market, and at least as much as I can stuff into this brain. And this is the same thing, and I think Jojo, like I said, I've told all you people in the past, I think Jojo came to me and said, Brian, you got an opportunity. Since you fancy yourself such a know-it-all, here is a new space that not a lot of people really know about, and go in there and start, learning and at least be a demonstrator of best practices for these people and try and help them. And one thing I've repeatedly talked to you guys about over the years is this idea of cost of production. That's how you value these damn Bitcoins. And, based off of S17s and S19s, off the old utility rates, and, it's always a debate as to what these actual big miners pay in utility rates, but at the old sort of rates, you can see S17s, even now, the cost of production for one of these is about $11,000. And the S19's about $8,000. And of course, there's going to be new technology that comes down the pike. So as new generations come, this line falls further and further and further. And what ends up happening over time, of course, is that there's the S1s, I suppose, S2s, 3s, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the whole way up. These lines are higher and higher and higher and higher. And as price comes down, of course, the old mining equipment becomes less profitable. In fact, you might even lose money mining with some of the old rigs. So they just go offline. They stop producing. And we know that Bitcoin's basically bottomed when you get down into these zones where, we're starting to approach the cost of production. All this sort of old equipment is starting to phase out, and you start getting talks about, there's not that many miners out there now, and they're all concentrated, and maybe we might have a potential for 51% attacks. And you start hearing that kind of conversation, and I think you have a pretty damn good idea that you're coming in and buying value in the crypto market. And unfortunately, at $31,000, that's just not the case. Did have a site member who's sort of running his own crypto mining operation, and just out of the box, he said his current costs are about $20,000, but because he can do a whole bunch of economies of scale, he can bring that cost for himself down to about $10,000-15,000. But the point is, it's not $32,000. So there's lots and lots of room for this price to still come down a lot more. The only problem is that this is the business where when stuff goes on sale, nobody wants to buy. When stuff is getting bid up, and that's that doofus, and frankly speaking, I don't understand. And maybe this is it'll get to the point, because I used to work with this prop firm, and all the people at the prop firm were like, Brian, you're kind of dumb thinking you can go and actually get the message out to the public of how you're properly supposed to play this game. But nobody has held this gentleman to an account. And yet, I think actually this is one of the biggest con jobs of this entire cycle. And nobody's saying boo about this. Straight up, I'm on Saturday Night Live. Not going to mention anything about the investment worthiness of this idea, but just, you all love me so much. And then straight back down. And unfortunately, that is the hallmark of venture capital, which is sad. And of course, you all know who I'm talking about when I say this. It's very disappointing that not a single person has said, didn't you tell people in the public to buy this thing on the way up here? Like, what the heck's going on? Anyway, also too, a really good anecdote. This is an unregulated market. So as a result, no way to hold this guy's feet to the fire. What'll end up happening, though, and I've seen, well, I haven't seen it personally, but I know stories. One of these days, he's going to do one of these deals. Somebody's going to come in and put a lot of money in up top, and then, our price is going to come down. They're going to get really angry, and they might just take a contract out on his head. I've seen it happen before. So, anyway, crazy world. Whether you look at it from a psychological perspective, what are sort of the phases of bull markets and then bear markets, and then understanding that Bitcoin has a very regular schedule of behavior that it goes through, understanding things like cost of production, what is value, and then, of course, technical analysis. If you've been following me, you know how much I love 78.6s, and how usually the markets like to bottom off of those levels. Also, too, if we look at things like the profile, right, you can see, ironically enough, and actually this is just a reiteration of what I was saying last week, so why don't we just leave it at that? I'm just going down and beating the same dead horse over and over and over. Okay, so let's get into what we're supposed to be talking about today. I only screwed up about a half an hour there. Sorry, guys. Notice I went, okay, stop this thing. We're going to get this train back on track. All right, so we did this fun little, I don't know, a game, I guess we'd call it, where on a weekly basis I ask my panelists if they can tell me where the hell this market's going next week. It's kind of fun to see how right and wrong we are over time. Where the hell's the YouTube page? That'd be funny if I put it away. What did I do with it? Hey, there you guys are. Hey, look at that. We got 20 people watching. Right on. Hello, guys. Actually, I noticed that the chat thing's not working there. I wonder how the hell do I put that on? I remember, I think it was... how the hell do you do that? Okay, there we go. So now, actually, we can see you guys all chatting away. So, hello, Blueberry. Hello, Paul. There's Paul. Paul, actually, Paul has got, I think it's a Discord group. I don't know, it's Discord. What Telegram? Discord, what did she say it was?
It's a Discord group.
Discord, yep. So, from what I understand, Paul's turning into quite a celebrity. So, follow him.
No, it's just a small group.
Boomer? Hello, Boomer. Cole! Love Cole. Cole is, gotta say, Cole's down to earth, and he's got a very dry sense of humor. He and I think very, very similarly. Horse, you know what? Willie terminated his newsletter. Oh, that's Willie Woo? They killed the newsletter? That's too bad. Snowboarding JJ. I think they just got tired of him talking. Oh well. And here's Raphael. Hello, Mr. McEnroe or Miss McEnroe. And there's JP. So anyway, there's a couple people over here. I'll try. It's weird on YouTube, and I don't know whether it's the setting. I've screwed something up here. And there's Aaron. Hello, Aaron. He says good evening. But I've put the little chat box outside of the YouTube page now, so at least I can see it. And also, too, if you're on the website, I can see you posting in the lounge as well. So there are a few different ways you can talk to me if you want through tonight. I'm not exactly sure what the best use of our time is. I mean, we can go through and look at the altcoins one by one, but I'll know that there's going to be kind of a bit of a crappy market here. Maybe we're starting. In fact, actually, I heard some of my panelists, they were saying, hey, some of these things are starting to get down into interesting levels. So maybe we can do some more of that. Okay, so let's start off with our grand predictions. And the end result of the price action here this past week is it looks like Bitcoin was off a grand total of about $100. So interesting to see the volatilities coming out of the market here. So a gray vote. Gray vote, I think, basically is unchanged to all intents and purposes. So it looks like the Beamish was correct in his prognostication. Way to go, Brian. Sharktoshi? Is Sharktoshi still casting votes? Maybe, maybe not. Winner, chicken dinner. Who's this? This is Derek. I didn't think Derek was still on the show, but now Paul has taken over Derek's seat. And Paul was correct last week, but it looks like he wanted to see further continuation in the bull. And that kind of took a bit of a pause here. I think actually you guys would have been right? Because I see that Ben also, both of you guys were slightly bullish. I think on balance, if we had done the show yesterday, you guys would have won. It's just, it's fascinating how we banged up into this Foggenbaum level, and we put in this very well-defined diamond top here, and then just puked out here through the day, through the regular session here today. So I think on balance, you guys were basically correct. It's just the last hour, I guess maybe the last day of our report here, the market came screaming back down into that bottom. So yay, Brian was right. For once, it's a miracle. Anyway. So I suppose at the end of the show tonight, we will come full circle, check in with the crew, see where they expect this market to go this coming week. And on balance, I think they were basically right. It's just they just sort of knocked the wind out of the sails of the market here earlier today. What was interesting about this too, and we kind of talked about this, first and foremost, you see how they gapped the market higher yesterday. This was through the holiday weekend, and this was actually a holiday. Right, today is Wednesday. Well, no, I guess maybe that was, no, so I guess the holiday was Monday. So the holiday was actually this day. And what was really interesting about this surprised me a little bit, is that the Bitcoin May futures contract, the micro contract, had about 220 in open interest in the $28,750 put options. And if the price is below this put option strike price, then those options are automatically exercised. So I was expecting those guys on the CME to actually get filled. We also noticed too that there was quite an open interest in the, and that was the micro contract, but also in the regular size contract, fairly sizable open interest. So I was a little surprised that the market did jump away from that, because then that means that all those puts that they wrote actually expired worthless. So, I mean, it is a win for, oh, that's not funny. I thought I did a Bitcoin tweet about the options expiring. Well, I guess I can't find it here. Sorry, everyone. Where are you? Options? No options. There's the commitments of traders reports. I even said options open interest, not your thing. So I remember specifically. Maybe it was part of this thread. No. Darn. Oh well. Anyway, it's here nor there. A little surprising that they didn't settle it out down here, so all those puts exercised and they basically went long. Yesterday's price action, I mean, this is an interesting, it's a 2-bar setup, and there's a, for anybody who's watching this, and you're like, hey, I want to learn something from watching this guy's crazy show. This 2-bar setup, there's a gentleman, and I can never remember his name. I've made reference to him at least 2 or 3 times in the daily briefs, and I really should find his name. Anyway, it's just slipped my mind. He entered into the World Series of Trading Championships back east on the East Coast. It's like 10, 20 years ago. And he literally won it like 2 or 3 years in a row. Like literally every single year he went in and won the championship. And it was just trading this 2-bar pattern where this is a doji and the following day it gaps away from the doji bar and the trade actually sets up on one tick. If it trades one tick higher than this high, that high 32,455, that's a buy. And you just go with this pattern. It's a trend continuation pattern. And what should happen is this is basically like an initial surge, like an impulse move, you could call it. And if you get the breakout through the high, it should basically replicate that move up top. So, like I said, he entered in the trading championship, just loaded up his screener just to show him all the stocks that made a doji 2 days ago. The stocks that gapped higher yesterday, and then on the open, right, he would just have a whole bunch of alerts set, and as soon as one of these things traded up through the high, away you go. So fascinating to see that this 2-bar setup did basically set itself up, but you'll notice no buy signal was issued. And interestingly enough, this is also a 2-bar setup, and actually this now makes a 3-bar setup, where technically, if we go through this low now, that's actually an inside bar failure signal. So this is a 3-bar fractal going this direction. So if we go through this low, 29,265, that actually turns into a sell signal. So fascinating what's going on here. I'm not really going to, get into the business of predicting what's going to happen here. I mean, the market's just going to do what it does. What I would say, though, is you have a very clear sort of trading range where you know that if you see price either up here or down here, you're getting a signal from the market. So I often like these kind of setups, right, where I would call this the bull-bear battle lines. So that's, if there was going to be some sort of great prediction that I'm going to make, the prediction would be we are in a trading range. If we break out through the top, then the bull's in charge. If we break out in through the bottom, then it probably means more continuation. There's Justin in the lounge going, we're going lower, Brian. All right, thank you, Justin. So I wouldn't say that actually we have a signal one way or the other here yet. I would say the market's kind of in limbo right now. And interestingly enough, from like sort of things like the breadth perspective, as I said, people on the site are really having a lot of fun using this tool. I'd say on balance we're still pointing higher, but we're not cheap. Now fast on the big top 30 is actually crossing into overbought zone. That's not generally a good sign. And if anything, what this probably says is if we do roll over and break here, and I think that happens, these moving averages will cross back down. We might even see the broader crypto universe actually start to M out here. But that will only happen if we do actually break through these lows and start heading down in earnest. I guess the way I would look at this is if we zoom out a little bit bigger picture. We're at a pretty important crossroads here. I like the idea, and I've liked the idea. Mind you, it's losing a bit of steam here. But I have liked the idea that was a shoulder. This is a neckline. This was the head. Is that a shoulder? Oh, I hope not. But that would actually imply that was a neckline, and I don't know whether I would work off of an angled neckline like that. I mean, I suppose it is doable. To sort of validate this head and shoulders idea, and this being the neckline, actually I'd like to see a nice counter-trend rally, something like that. And what's interesting is I was sharing, of course, Mr. Williams' videos there earlier. And interestingly enough, Mr. Williams, probably, let's hear. Mr. Williams, big fan of the Decennial report. And actually, even in the video that he put out earlier today, Sanjay, thank you very much for posting it on the site. Appreciate it. Watched it. That is... I don't even see it here. And interestingly, jeez. Anyway, I suppose I'll tweet it out later on. Interesting how he's got his pivot here mid-year, right? And he's kind of thinking that we're in this kind of part of the market right now. Also, too, did see some information from him suggesting that the inflation numbers are starting to top out, which I suppose is exactly what everybody's kind of hoping for, to start sort of a new base for the market to start moving back up here. He was a bit sanguine about Bitcoin and tech, and I get the impression that he's kind of thinking that, it could be dead cat bounces, but there's probably other places that he would rather have his money working in the market. I'll leave that up for him. That's not here nor there. But what I would just simply say is we are a bit overdue for some sort of counter-trend rally here. And also, too, if I look back to sort of prognostications of previous cycle years, where's that chart? Well, I guess I can just show you this one again. I did sort of like an average. You remember I showed you that I think on balance 4-year cycle we're in this 14, 18 similar window. So if you do like a 2022 kind of like what do these years look like, on balance you can see into the end of the whether it's a really, really sharp rally in the short term, which could be. All right, take it easy, Paul. We'll go enjoy your cigarette. I thought I had that chart on here. Where the hell is it? There it is. Is it a sharp rally to take us up here into sort of like the middle of the summer? Or is it kind of a swoon rally where we don't see the rally peak until middle of the summer? Regardless, I think we're overdue for some sort of bounce here. What I'm kind of worried about, though, is we bounce and we relieve those oversold conditions. Joey Diamond recently came out and said that he was thinking we should see 38,000 on Bitcoin, that kind of thing. That 38,000 would just do nothing more than just take us back, kiss the underside of that trend line like that. I could very easily see that. I don't know whether we can get a rally all the way up top there. That might seem a little bit unrealistic. But I definitely could see that we got a bit of a window here. So in this little sort of window here right through, we're pretty damn close to some sort of bottom. I think that the bottom really comes in. Like if you look, and this is the number one sort of driver for me right now, is what do U.S. markets usually look like through these presidential, congressional election years down in the States. And you can see there is the peak in May, sell in May and walk away. And you can see these markets don't trough until we get to the end of June, beginning of July. So all of the scenarios, they all hit some sort of capitulation low there, end of June, beginning of July. So that's why I don't think that this market pivots until we get sort of, we're now finally into June. Man, we've been talking about how crappy this damn like January barometer, decennial report. Man, we've been talking about this all bloody spring, how crappy this market is. Well, we're finally at the bottom. And what's interesting, of course, is that now that we're at the bottom, of course, everybody's screaming bear. And the irony of it all, as you can see, we probably should actually prepare ourselves by the end of this month for some substantial counter-trend rallies here. So it's in that kind of context that if there's going to be any kind of altcoin season this year, this is it. It should start in the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and it should go on into probably the middle of August. So you got a grand total of maybe a couple months. You all ready to make your annual income in 2 months, 3 months? There are some names, and this is where I was going with all this, and hopefully I can stop talking here and start to show you some names. But for instance, on this site, someone asked me to look at this Cello. You can see I was sort of conjecturing about what would a bottom sort of look like this. That's a lower time frame chart, but there's your daily chart. Could this thing, some sort of crazy ass rally over the next, 2 or 3 months, do nothing more than bring us back to things like 50% rules? You can see there's the 50% rule. There's the POC. Here's price now at $1.31. 50% level is double what we are right now. Can you guys kind of see how there? It almost looks like there's a manufactured trade happening here. I don't know, Ben. Can you sort of see that? I don't know if Paul's back here.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily, I put out a tweet the other day where I said, we've got confirmed bullish momentum divergences. We have Willie stupidly oversold. We actually have the bulls waking up. You can see the green volume bars are actually rising, and the red volume bars are potentially calming down and quieting down here. We're at the bottom end of the range. You can see we're at the POC. There's the 50% rule. You can see the top of value is just up top here. So this is a good example where I could see a rally. There might be a good couple month window. I don't know what the fundamental story is here that well. I think I remember, wasn't this one that Danny kind of liked a while ago? I seem to remember something like that.
Yeah, I think that was one he said if he was going to invest in anything.
Yeah, I remember that. That was all in here, wasn't it? And then, or actually, you know what? That was back here. God, how the world has changed since last September, eh? Wow. The world is a very, very different place. Holy moly. Hey, Paul. So, there should be names. Like, hopefully you can see, especially when you get OBV divs. Oh, my goodness. Those are very powerful. So, if anything now is the time. If you're going to make any money in altcoin land over the next month or two, maybe 3 months, right? Now is the time when you got to focus and find. I don't know the fundamental story, but do these guys have any new product coming down the pike? Do they, is Coinbase going to be adding them to their trading deck? And as a result, you see a little bit of a rally? I would say that there is internal indications that this thing's, it's pretty oversold. It's just one example of a name. Paul's giving us another one. RSR versus USDT. Yeah, so same sort of thing. Not nearly as clean as OBV div as that Cello. But same sort of idea. I mean, we're right down basically at the very bottom end of the range. What's the fundamental driver? Do they have some sort of new product? Is there some sort of pitch? build a better mousetrap, build a better ledger. Who knows? I don't know whether I would actually call this quote unquote a buy, but definitely nanny nibble kind of stuff. And you know, the irony of it all is that, I mean, you can kind of even see it here if we just go zoop zoop, right? 50% roll. Didn't quite hit it. I guess this one would be a good example of probably Colin's dump chaser zone. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's try that again. Where is Colin? Colin, there you are, pump chaser. All right, so 38.2 to 50%. If you kind of snuck in down here, you know, 88.6s. I think you heard Paul earlier say that he loves those levels. We go something like boom. So, you know, I don't really mind people coming in and starting to accumulate down in reload zones, bottom ends of ranges, the original W, Benkoff checks, the whole damn thing. Could you get a double, right? That's 0.02. Let's say you bought it at 0.025, right? Give it a little bit of a cushion. Could you see 5 by the end of this rally? Got as high as 6. So you could have gotten your free coins. In this particular case, the thing goes right back down into the shitter. Do you take all of the profits when you double your money? Well, it's up to you. It's your trading plan. But could we see something similar? Let's take that level there. Just up against these original or these recent peaks. Let's do the dump chaser zone and assume that we're going to stall out where we stalled out before. And that's 0.025 to 0.32. And we're sitting at 0.006. Can you get a double out of that? I think so. Actually, that's like a 3 or 4x. So they are there. I wouldn't fault you if you were coming in and nibbling. I don't know whether we have like screaming buys. If anything, it looks to me like the screaming buy was probably off of that W there. And my hunch is that's probably where Paul is long. He was the one who mentioned this a second ago. Also, too, this is a really good example. You can see the W. And if you draw like a reload zone off of that range, and you go, where is the RLZ? Because that's where I want to buy. Look how we came down into Mountain Man. In fact, actually, that's probably Paul's trade right there. I think he likes Mountain Man a lot. So you can kind of see how this is not only a Benkoff check, but it's also a Mountain Man level. And really, it's just a nice, healthy pullback right into the previous support zone. So I don't know. Paul, did you pull the trigger down in this area down here?
No, I pulled the trigger on the W.
On the W. Okay, well, that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. And how do you find following that kind of plan? Is that relatively easy to execute? When you see the W, you go, I buy W, so I buy.
Yeah, I had a nice location, so it was easy to take that W.
Nice bull divs as well coming in here. So Willie's nice and stupidly oversold. And all the criteria is there as far as I'm concerned. So nice job, sir. And the interesting thing...
I'm still in the trade.
Beg your pardon?
I'm still in the trade.
Yeah. I would say I would hope that we see a tag of that Benkoff check level from the other side. Actually, would be? No, I guess a Benkoff check would be that level. So actually, that makes sense. Why we ran into a better resistance there. Probably, ooh, you know what? This is a really good example of what we like to call on this site the LJ. I think also, too, we used to call it RJ, but anyway. Trendline breaks. Really, the rule should be, and again, if you're watching this video and you're kind of like, I want to get something out of this guy, right? This is a free video, so I want to feel like I got some value out of this. This is a really, really easy way to improve your trading performance immensely. Is a lot of new people to trading, they get told, well, just buy trendline breaks. So they might come in and buy that. And that's a trap, unfortunately. The rule that we have at TRI is you got to let this trend line be broken, and then you got to find a W on the other side of the trend line. W. Buy. With like this, you can see clearly. A lot of times when these trend lines are broken, we break it and then we actually walk down the other side, and it's just torture as we literally walk down the trend line from the other side. It just drives you crazy. But notice we're on the other side of this trend line. Just give me a W. And lo and behold, down, up, down, Paul's buying. Boom. It's a really, really good application of that concept. And the interesting thing about this is you could say, well, Brian, isn't this a market structure M here, and you could draw a trend line off of those two peaks? And I would say you're absolutely right. So what this means here to me is this, unfortunately, is support, and let's hope to goodness we don't have to crap out here. But resistance, this trend line is no longer relevant for resistance. Resistance is right up here. And notice, look at the profile. You can see there's a whole bunch of, Ben probably, well, I don't know. I wouldn't pick on him. But Ben, where do you think the guys are that bought this date right here? Where do you think they're sleeping right now?
On the couch or in the doghouse?
In the doghouse and the couch. So you can see that they would love nothing more. Please, for God's sakes, can you bring the market back to this level so I can get the hell out? And that's those guys right there. So interestingly enough, when you do that trend line analysis, yeah, we're probably going to run into stiff resistance right there. Probably also, too, like we said a moment ago, we could probably take this range. And the irony of it all is that this is Paul's favorite guy in the marketplace. Kind of like what we just showed you a moment ago. He came in and put the floor in the market right here. This guy, I swear, man, he gets around. Considering he's never traded a cryptocurrency in his whole life, this guy trades like the fucking wind. Anyway, there's Mountain Man, good old Brandon. It'd be interesting to see where the hell Brandon is in this universe. He probably died like 10 years ago and I don't even know about it. And what I would just simply say is this market action, because we have this market structure in here, this thing is perfectly fine until you start to see an M on the other side of this trend line. So notice tag, reversal, tag, reversal. What you just don't want to see is don't go and M out on the other side of this trend line. If you do that, then this thing's an outright sell. You better get the frick out of there. So, interesting market. And if anything, I would just simply say, if somebody came to me and said, well, Brian, where is this market bounded? I would just simply say, you can get this actually now is, well, anyway, you see how that acted there. But I would say there's your playground, right? There's support. You really don't want to see the market go back below, and all these people that bought in here, they don't want to see the market go back below there. And there's resistance. And the interesting thing, 0.006, 0.013, do you see how that's basically a double? So it's almost like this is a completely manufactured trade here. So if we go like that, go like that, go like that, I think that's your trade. 4-to-1 risk reward. That's pretty damn good numbers. And that doesn't surprise me that would be a Paul trade. Are you going to try and gun for Mountain Man here? Or are you just going to go for a straight double?
Yeah, Mountain Man.
Yeah. So I can understand that would be Paul's trade. So there's a lot of these kind of ideas out there, folks. I saw somebody over there on the page said 1 inch is looking interesting. Let's see what the hell you got there. 1 inch versus USDT on Binance. That's a bit tough. A difference of perspective. I like when W's look like this. Very well-defined W's. We often say, first off, change your chart to a line chart. And then just simply ask yourself, and I don't know, this be a good question, is the letter W in the Romanian language?
Yep.
All right. So you're in grade 3 Romanian class. Is there such a thing? And the teacher says, go up to the chalkboard and write me a W. And you go up to the chalkboard and you can see this. And you go, okay, teacher, there's my W. What kind of grade is the teacher going to give you? Is the teacher going to say that's beautiful calligraphy?
Just give you a 4.
Probably.
Or a F on.
A 4? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a note in Romanian.
Oh, okay. So they're
just
number
a F
grades?
in the English class.
Okay. Point of the matter here is you can see this here. I think our Romanian teacher would give us a little bit better grade for a W that looks like that.
Yeah.
So be careful with the 1 inch. Okay. So who was that? Jordan, you asked about that. Doesn't look too bad. And I suppose, if you probably zoomed out to like a weekly chart. I mean, the irony of it all is I think we spent a lot of time over the past 6-8 months when we were looking at these things back here going, oh, Jesus, you can't touch this stuff. Gotta wait for it to come back down. So at the very least, we're down at the bottom end of ranges. The only problem with an asset like this is where is the bottom? Is that really the bottom? I mean, the problem is you can go like a logarithmic chart and look how big that looks now. And you don't know whether that's the start. If I remember correctly, this thing, I probably even have some of this crap on the Trex books, although they probably delisted it. But if I can look back over time, I got a funny feeling this thing's been around for a very long time. Oh, isn't that weird? Yeah, or maybe it was reorged. I know a lot of these little names, they reorged them. Where on
I think that one started as an airdrop as well.
Did it? There's Stamp. Let's see how far. Oh, no, that's nothing. Oh, well. Maybe this just came back on. Wait, do you know roughly when the airdrop was?
It would have been after Uniswap.
Oh, okay. So it was after all that DeFi stuff, eh? All right. Okay, so I can't really comment. I seem to remember something else was named 1 inch way back when, but I don't see any reference to what I'm thinking of. Yeah, see all this stuff over here. I thought I remember this from years ago, but really there's nothing there, right? So maybe this was just a recent thing. All right. Anyway, you tell me, Jordan. Just really simply put, any W's there? Well, let's keep this as simple as possible. I tell every single new person that comes on the website, wants to learn about trading, what's the number one thing? Ben, do you even remember this? What did I always talk about weekly price charts? What's the number one thing you want to look for? Oh, well, he's stumped. How about weekly W's?
Weekly W.
Yeah, great, Del Moody. Shouldn't these guys change the name to like 10 inches? Like, wouldn't that make the at least some of our population a little bit more 10 inches? Okay, yeah, that's something to take a good look at. Good point, Mr. Del Moody. Anyway. What I always tell people, and actually, a really good analogy of this was that last cycle. Good old Barry was one of the very first coins to actually start putting in these weekly W's down here. And, of course, there was his rally this last cycle. So you can see there's where he started doing his weekly W kind of action in this really big one. Nice little FU move to wash out all the weak hands, but in essence, you can see the big sort of saucer bottom pattern here. And then the killer little W right in there started everything off. So that's kind of what you want to see, especially if it changes to like a line chart. All right, look at that W. And really, like I said, this really got it going there. And probably also, too, you see things like volume probably ramped up through here. See what happened. Yep, so you can see there's the volume ramping up. Chunky bars. Momentum turning up. Lots of W's. So really good example of that weekly W kind of concept that we're looking for. So somebody just asked about this 1 inch, and I just don't see any weekly W's here. So really what I want you guys to find for me, right, critically important, what I want you to find for me is W in price, rising volume bars. Show me the W in price, i.e. higher highs and higher lows, and buying interest. You put the two of those together, and you got yourself a winning idea. You can see here even now, look at the buying volume bars is trailing off here. A little bit of interest here, but a big selling bar right there. And unfortunately, this big selling bar actually created an M in the OBV. Yuck. So, Great Del Moody, you're a type of person who could find this stuff. Find me weekly W's on rising volume bars. And you want to throw in things like Willie being stupid. It's a nice overbought, oversold indicator. That always helps. You want to add in things like Bollinger Bands contracting, so you know that the energy is building and all hell's about to break loose. Awesome. You want to add in conditions. Can you guys see this profile here looks very dangerous? So why do I say that? Can you see, like, first and foremost, let's do a survey. We'll leave this open for the YouTube kids, so you guys don't answer it just yet, okay? What shape does this profile really want to look like? No one on YouTube is answering at all. Do you know what the profile wants to look like? Brian can't stop ripping the song from Jeopardy off too much more. No one's gonna answer, so I guess I'll just say it. Ben, do you know what the profile wants to look like? I'm being stupid. Parabola! Very good, Aaron. Oh, nice. What were you going to say, Ben?
I said a D.
A D. Well, no, that's it if it's based, right? And then it takes off. But especially in something like this, you can see that there's actually a natural slope to the profile here. So, and also too, you can see where the POC is. So this gets scary. Because if we look at it on a logarithmic scale, and that's probably the way to look at this, is we probably want to look something like that, right? So the profile wants to look like a parabola, but you can see clearly we've got like half of the parabola, and the other half of the parabola is missing. So that looks very, very bothersome, very dangerous. Be careful here, folks. And really, looking at this image, well, what I sort of, the gift I think I've been given over this stupid sickness, nonsense world that we've lived in is I've really learned how to use Foggenbaum and chaos theory. I don't know whether this is going to work. It'll be interesting because I think you can do fibs off of a log scale, but I'm not quite sure. Is that going to work? No, so the number goes right off the board. Yeah, there it is there. Maybe if we go just clotheslines. No, still too big. But I think you can, somewhere in here, fibs based on log scale charts. There we go. Yeah. All right, so, yeah. Yep. Perfect. Yep, right down into there. So, you can kind of see, if I drag the parabola, the bottom of it, say, down to there, well, you can see where the POC is. That's pretty darn close. Oh, boy, that doesn't look good. So, ironically enough, it's 93 cents right now. I could easily see this go like 1/10 the price that it is right now. Uh-oh. Sorry, KL. I'm just being silly. Yeah, so this looks a bit sus. And as I had said there a moment ago, what you really want to see, I mean, can you clearly see lower highs and lower lows defines a what? How does that go again? Lower highs and lower lows defines a bear market. Yuck. So if this thing really is a bull, at the very least, can I please see a W? Just give me some sort of W. Right now, I'd be and also too, considering the seasonality, right? If we're thinking that this is this part of the cycle, right? We should really not expect this to finish going down for like one full year. So what does this thing, same thing on fucking dog money, right? I mean, this thing's still pointing down. I don't know whether it really behooves us to like call bottoms on stuff like this. That could just keep drifting its way lower. Sucks. So, by all means, if you are trading this, right, you look at a guy like Paul. And he says, well, I buy the W's. If the W fails, Paul, are you going to just stay in there and do nothing, or are you going to get the out?
Out.
Mm-hmm. So really make damn sure, everybody, you understand who you are. Are you a little old lady where you don't really want to get into the business of timing this stuff, and you're just going to nanny nibble your way along here? Maybe buy like 1% of your stake or whatever once every couple months here just to establish a position. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trading this stuff and you're like, well, I buy W's and I'm going to bang halves on doubles and all that, well, if it breaks a W, you better get the fuck out of there. Excuse my French. Okay, so if anything, we looked at a couple names that people threw out there. We looked at a name that Paul was interested in. In fact, actually said he took a trade. So thank you for sharing that with us. Appreciate that, sir. Ben, you got anything in the hopper? Any names that fundamentally have caught your attention? They're doing anything? Got projects on the go?
No, I mean, I do find fundamentally the idea of the Ethereum merge could be a potential reason for a rally here. In that it's moving from the proof of work to proof of stake, possibly sometime August to October. I think they're looking at, which I think would be pretty good for all altcoins moving.
So my question there would be, how do you value one Ethereum in a proof of stake world?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not too sure, but I mean, I know that there's going to be a limited supply of it. Yeah, I don't know what the exact calculation will be, but
Paul, you have anything you can weigh in on this? Bitcoin. Great Del Moody, you're one of those smart guys. You got any idea? How about you, Cole? You're one of those smart guys. How the hell do we figure out what the value of one of these? Because right now, theoretically, there should be a value to one of these if it's POW, right? Right?
As in the cost?
Well, it's POW now, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like the cost of production?
Yeah, well, theoretically, we should be able to, if it is POW, then we should be able to figure out what the cost of production is.
Right. And then proof of stake kind of is a little bit more.
Well, proof of stake, no offense, but I haven't got a fucking clue how you figure out what the value of a proof of stakes coin is. And unfortunately, I don't know whether you guys remember, but Dash, wasn't that a POS coin? And it just basically went right down almost to nothing. And the one that I remember specifically was ADA.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I went over to Switzerland, and this guy, he was the sweetest guy in the world. And from what I understand, I think he's still basically in the space. But he was running the whole master nodes and everything all through this nightmare. And actually, this doesn't even show it, does it? So hard to actually get charts from the previous cycle, eh? Let's see. That was Binance. So we can't get Binance. How about Phoenix? Phoenix probably has it. Nope. Darn. So irritating how you can't do this. Where the hell would we look? I don't even remember. It's weird how all these kind of names all sort of go by the wayside, eh? Hey, there's Trex. Let's see if it was on Trex. There you go. Nope. That still doesn't even have it. Maybe it was versus Bitcoin. I don't know. Kraken. Maybe Kraken's been around a while. No. Oh, well. Anyway, I remember ADA was really, really high. And it worked all the way. It's way down. In fact, it looks like there's some crazy-ass capitulation here into that, cocoa sickness panic bottom there. And, it's too bad I can't show you that damn chart. Maybe it was BTC was the best one to look at it. Let's see. Well, why do they only have data going back to 2020? What the fuck? This is so irritating. I hate how capitalism is. It's like somebody's behind the curtain and just going, nope, we only want you to see this so that we can steal your money from you. Very frustrating. I don't know what's the best one to look at here to find this. There's Phoenix. Is this going to have some data? Come on, give us some fucking data. No. Oh. Damn it.
What about, did you try Trex already? I didn't.
Maybe. It's bizarre. It's and I think it's basically to screw the public over. But it's like they only want you to see a certain amount of data, so you can't really make an informed decision. Very frustrating. I don't even see ADA, BTC. I don't even see. Do you see Trex on here? There's Phoenix. Then they got all these weird exchanges.
I think maybe I saw it.
Polo.
Oh, there you go. Right.
Look at that. Why does Polo only have data from this year? Like,
I
what
think
the
they all
fuck?
list them at different times as well.
Beg your pardon?
They all list them at different times as well. So
yeah, but there's,
the
Polo fucking ad has been on Polo since day one. Oh god, it's so frustrating. Anyway, Brian yelling at the wind again, right? Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, it was on Bittrex.
Yeah, I thought I saw Trex on here somewhere. But anyway, I'm wasting time now. So frustrating. No, I don't even see it.
But yeah, I agree as far as it's a bit of an unknown quantity what it would do for the price of Ethereum. But I think the idea of it being more scalable, so being able to do more transactions per second and possibly reducing the gas fees could be good for the projects that do use the Ethereum network.
Well, so how do you actually calculate those gas fees? That's an interesting question. Is it just purely supply and demand, or is there actually some base price for those? I don't know. Anyway, here is the ADA chart. So here is 2017. You can see how it just went straight up here. And probably best to, this is a weekly chart, just to put it into perspective. I mean, it was a hell of a rally. So that whole sort of 17 crazy ass bull. And you notice this was POS. I have a trade. All right. So Paul is interested in taking a trade here. And you can see following that January 2018 top, this thing it was just torture. I mean, in essence, that's 1 year, literally almost exactly 2 years of bleeding here. And I felt so bad for the guys that came in and just bought the story hook, line, and sinker way up top here, and they were running their master nodes and just feeling all excited and enthusiastic, and the price just kept falling and falling and falling and falling. Now, why did the price of ADA stop falling there? Is it because it was a reload zone? Nope. I mean, geez, what is that? It must be like 95% correction because this is a log scale chart, eh? There's the regular chart. I mean, look at that, eh? So there are a lot of people that get sucked into the sort of staking POS names. And what the hell's the value of one of these things? And the only way you can sort of see that this thing actually finish going down, start going up is after time you notice that, okay, well, at least the damn thing stopped making lower lows and it's starting to make higher highs. And then we have a big rally and then a test of the lows and then even more higher highs. Okay, so now at least we got a base here. But my basic question is this was POS and this was all about staking and people running master nodes, and where the hell is the actual value of one of these things? How do you value them? I have no idea. Does ETH have to do something like this? I sure hope not. And how ironic, right? Everybody's shitting their pants about fucking Bitcoin and all that. And energy and all that kind of craziness. It seems perfectly logical to me that actually that's a trap. We'll probably find that energy prices... In fact, actually, go watch that Larry Williams video. And Larry was basically saying that probably by the beginning of the 2023, we should actually see the peak in energy prices, and energy prices should fall for the next few years. So, and then really that makes sense to me. But I don't know how you value one of these POS coins. And if Ethereum is indeed moving to POS, my hunch is, we could easily go through one of these kind of slides here. No problem. In fact, I think you could argue that the M is in place. Boom, 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 boom. That's been confirmed now. So I guess this is coming full circle here for you, Ben. On that fundamental event, how do we actually figure out what one of these ETHs is worth?
I guess the market will tell us.
Well, sounds like it. There should be a better way to do this. After 8 years in this space, actually longer than that, when did this thing start? 2008, right? That's when the first sort of white paper for Bitcoin came out. I think it was around that. You'd think that we'd have a little bit better valuation metrics than just sort of saying, well, I guess we'll just leave it up to the market. That seems a little amateur, to be honest with you. It's probably a better answer than, Brian, what do you think is going to happen? I don't know. So I like your answer better. But honestly, I just don't know. Let's see what the YouTube audience says. Cole says POS is proof of nothing. There you go. Great Del Moody says POS is proof of Ponzi. Oh boy. This isn't getting better, guys. KL says conspiracy on the charts not showing earlier cycles. Doesn't it seem like that to KL? Man, it seems like this capitalism game is awfully suspect. And then as soon as the crypto kids sort of start saying, okay, we're going to kiss you stupid legacy fuckers goodbye, well, they come along and they just shit all over our faces. And I got to tell you, the shit, it's pretty bad, but what's worse is having to eat the corn kernels. I hate eating those fucking corn kernels. That's horrible. Sorry, that's terrible. I shouldn't have said that. God, Brian. All right, let's see what Paul's doing. Paul's got a trade for us. Paul's like, you stupid slackers. When are you going to get back in the pit and start trading again? Damn it. Quit with your stupid bad jokes. All right, let's see what he's got here. Bitcoin tethers on Binance, 30-minute chart. He's got a bull div here. That's kind of cute. He's got RSI's also got a bull div working. He's got Willie Stupid, so this kind of looks like an El Tangonator setup. 30,900 up to 31,300 is his target window. Looks pretty legit. Anything you want to add to that image there, Paul?
No, that is the short reload zone with the
Yeah,
target.
okay. Probably also too. This is a good example of a
Yeah, Wyckoff check.
Benkoff check
Benkoff
going
check.
the other direction.
Yeah,
So we officially on this channel call it a Benkoff check, by the way.
yeah.
So, and the interesting thing about the Bitcoin chart, so it's interesting that Paul pointed that out, is, like we said, we've got this bull bear battle line, so it's interesting that he's stepping in off the bottom here. And being a lower time frame trader, I guess he sees something along these lines. Was it the fractal that got you to enter here?
No, I had a little W
On the 30-minute, eh?
yeah, but on Binance.
Yeah, interesting. But hopefully you can see, where's the indicators? Oh, interesting. Okay, let's try that again. Boom. Yep, there's the little bull div. There's Willie
Yeah.
Stupid. There's a nice W in RSI. That looks good.
Yeah, and a divergence.
Yeah, so nicely done. You could probably also too, and actually Ben's doing this right now, studying trend lines. So market structure. Suppose one of these days maybe we'll get you to take the level 2 program. Who knows?
Yeah.
Market structure trend line. Interesting. We like to call this on the volume profile. We like to call this a MUOC. So you can see there's a ton of unfinished business in this profile. Kind of like that other image. Remember I told you how the profile wants to look like a parabola? You might even argue that this is sort of the bottom half of the parabola and there's the top half, but you can see that we need to trade a whole bunch of volume in there to fill all that in. So that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Well, fingers crossed for you there, sir. So it's interesting that Bitcoin is turning up. I wonder what good old ETH looks like. Ethereum, not so much, eh? No real bottom there yet. If anything, this is a really, really good example. If you see this, you see a big candle like this and this huge tail. This we have an old expression: wicks and tails like to be eaten. And so there's a really good example where the market did crank down there very quickly and then snap back. But it probably, if it really wanted to bottom, it's going to have to go down and explore that low. And there is a really nice little railroad tracks. That is a solid close. Beep, closed down, opened up, ding, came straight back up to the top of this little candle here, finished, and then turned back up. That's a very pretty little bottom down there. So interestingly enough, for those people that do trade these kind of chart patterns, especially on the altcoins, if you can get this 2-bar pattern here, railroad tracks, right, straight down, straight back up, and then reverse up, you'll love to see that. That's a cool sign. And actually what's interesting too is you could probably go, yeah, so notice we dipped right into reload zones, 78.6. Probably if you look at maybe a 10-minute chart or something, yeah, that would have been tough to take. It would have been like catching a falling knife kind of idea. But makes sense. If anything, I kind of like the idea that some sort of bottom comes in here and we work our way back up. And hearing the fact that Paul is basically coming in and buying the bottom end of ranges, what a surprise. And I think that's the kind of stuff that he does. So, I had this little bot set up off of this double bottom, but, you could do the same thing. There's the rally peak. Or actually, I think that, is the trough a little bit lower? Oh, yeah, we're all the way down here. But even if we just go off of this range, good old reload zones. There we are, 61.8. There's 78.6, Brian's favorite level. There's the POC. And also, too, you can see there's a whole bunch of unfinished business all up in here. So, ironically enough, that probably is exactly where Paul's going to be taking profits. If I go boobity-boo, there's that hole in the profile. And there's a reload zone. So there's good old Paul. aka I think actually I think actually we're gonna officially change your name to Brandon now. Oops, hey, look at that, did it again. Do that. So Paul, aka Brandon. Hey, look, it did it again. What the fuck? It doesn't want me to put Mountain Man on here. Nope. It doesn't like me. Oh well, screw it. Guess we're not gonna call him Mountain Man. Sorry. Anyway, I can see his trade here. It's ballsy. It's a little bit more aggressive than what I would do. But if anything, you see Mountain Man here. What a surprise! Paul's in there buying. I think that's what he said his trading plan is, and he'll be selling against Mountain Man up top here. So, and you want to do a shameless plug for your Discord group? If you have like an address or something like that, we can show it. And maybe you'll get a whole bunch of followers or subscribers. Who knows? Okay. Did you have a web page or something you want to show? Anybody who wants to?
No, next time maybe.
All right. London says learn railroad tracks on my level 1. All right. Fred says, Paul, what leverage did you take on that trade? Any comment?
I manage my position size. I do, but leverage is just a tool for me.
I don't know whether the question is, Paul, what leverage did you take on that trade? Is it just like 1-to-1 or something? Or is it 100-to-1?
No, I use 10-to-1 usually, but I manage my position size to fit my 1% risk.
I guess my suggestion to you, Fred, is if you're on the site, maybe PM him on the TRI site, or maybe consider joining his Discord channel and subscribing to his newsletter. What else should we talk about here today? I guess we haven't really done the spreadsheet in a while. Do we want to continue on this? Do you want to, like, I've just sort of been picking out names that people have been asking me to look at. And maybe that's a fun little assignment that we can do. How do we value a Ethereum token when it changes to POS? And I think I saw somebody say earlier the NVT study. Sayla says, I would assume in POS blockchains we can use TVL and user numbers and growth. And Great Del Moody says TVL. Not saying that this should be definitive though. All right. And another person says ratio of Vitalics to horsecocks. We all know who that is. Just kidding. All right, so I don't know. What do we want to do here, Ben? You're driving the bus. What should we do here? We got a half an hour left. I don't know. Did you guys enjoy that?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of going to the YouTube and seeing if anybody wants to have you look at anything.
So we got a half an hour left, guys. If anybody wants for us to look at anything in particular, fire your symbol in there. Somebody says LTC. All right, where should I show this? I guess this is my basic view. So LTC. Been watching LTC for quite some time, of course. Good old Charlie. Don't hear too much about Charlie anymore. Have you guys heard him in the media at all? Is he even associated with this coin anymore?
I know recently they did add a privacy feature to it. Yeah, so that was a development within the last couple of months, I think. So, and I'm pretty sure he was involved in it. Let me check it out.
Okay. Kind of a whole bunch of a mess here, short-term wise. I think on balance, if anything, the good part about these kind of names is you can see they've basically washed this market out. Again, is this a POW coin? Is this a POS coin? I think it's POW. That means we should be able to figure out what a basic sort of value for one of these coins is. I always remember, too, that there was some sort of magic ratio that LTC was supposed to respect versus Bitcoin. Looks like LTC's kind of underperformed, though. I bet if we look at this versus Bitcoin, it just looks like poop. Yeah. Holy train wreck, Batman. So probably this Bitcoin maximalists go, see, I told you, this is why you shouldn't invest in those altcoins. If I understand correctly, I think all Litecoin is just a clone of Bitcoin, just with a few more coins outstanding. Anyway, there's your image versus dollar. I mean, what do you say? I mean, just some simple conclusions. Top of the range. Bottom of the range. We are closer to the bottom than the top, so that should be encouraging. The 4-year cycle trough kind of idea, that's clearly the rally there. And now, you see how long this took to go from peak to actually putting in some sort of panic low bottom, 424 bars. So if we clone that, then we're getting pretty close. That's a good sign, I suppose. It's interesting how, remember we had said how Larry Williams was kind of showing us that this peak on, I guess, the GBTC was lower, so this Litecoin actually is similar to that. So if this is playing out as this was the peak last May, and that's kind of like how Dog Money peaked there. LTC is POW. It's a fork of BTC. Yeah, that's what I thought. So 1,000 times Bitfinex Fun USD divided by Stamp Bitcoin USD. Effectively, it's Fun versus BTC. All right. Maybe we'll look at that in a moment there. Great Dalmoody. Maybe we're getting close to some sort of finishing of this down move. Of course, 365 is 1 year. And I used to tell people, actually, when I first came into this space, that a typical bear market that I found in the stock market is about 18 months. I mean, that's pretty normal. So what is 18 months? That's 530 days, somewhere in that area. So coming into 400 and change, I mean, at the very least, you could say we're probably within 100 or so days of some sort of pivot low. And in a weird sort of way, I kind of like this thinking. I think I showed you with that 4-year cycle on Bitcoin. I like the idea of them just ripping the Band-Aid off hard here. And I've said to you guys repeatedly that, of course, I am a big fan of where is value, 78.6. Simon Dixon, if we ever see Bitcoin trade back 80% of its previous range, it's a buy. Where is cost of production? It's probably somewhere in this area. Reload zones, Wyckoff checks, shelves in value, volume profile, blah, blah, blah. A, B, C, Ds. Believe it or not, actually, I really like the idea of them just ripping the Band-Aid off here and just getting this done by August, September. Which in a weird sort of way takes us full circle right back to this gentleman. And his crazy ass prediction that basically the sky is going to fall here into August of this year, which I find fascinating. I don't see, to be perfectly honest with you, it's not outlandish what he's actually suggesting here. I don't want to get into trouble with copyrights and all that kind of stuff. But I think somewhere along here, I think he makes a pretty good argument for a serious break. In fact, that's basically what this is, looking for a dump down into there. But the cool part about this is once this is done, then, the correction's over. And I actually like the idea of them breaking the market here into the fall and then Bitcoin just going sideways for a year and a half and just boring the fuck out of the public to the point where they've completely lost interest in Bitcoin and in cryptocurrencies and this whole space. That would not surprise me one bit. So believe it or not, this guy's call looking for a big ass fucking dump here into the end of the summer. It's not outlandish to me. And then, as I said there a moment ago, because of the funny nature of these cyclical moves, and actually I kind of screwed up the date on this one, so I had to reprint it. That's what this was, right? If 12, 16, and 20 should have been sort of muted bull runs. It is a bull, don't get me wrong, but this was too much. And of course, Alan and his stupid dog money nonsense coming in there completely screwing with the Bitcoin price action. Wish that guy had never gotten involved in all this. I think it kind of messed with this cycle here. Then, of course, like I said earlier, Sailor and all those guys going to war with the banksters and fucking Do Kwon. Oh, no, I'm bigger than the US dollar. Yeah, right. So, believe it or not, in this kind of scenario, seeing them just rip the Band-Aid off, just get this out of the way, just dump this thing into the fall here, right into that U.S. election, I actually like that. That works well for me. But we'll see. Unfortunately, not very politically correct. Alright, so anyway. So back to Litecoin. That whole kind of idea that, hey, maybe they're just going to rip the Band-Aid off right away. If you look at this kind of thinking and you ask, how long did it take for the market to find its footing last cycle after making a blow-off top? Well, we're coming up. That's getting awfully close here. And that would sort of imply your final capitulation move into that sort of end of the summer here. And then we're done, right? And maybe it's a dump right back down into these levels. And they basically hit the complete reset button, and maybe we go sideways like this for the next year or so. That wouldn't surprise me. It would actually be pretty smart. So, with that kind of image, is this a buy here just yet? I don't think so. Not a bad idea. Location, yes. Benkoff checks. Say, well, Brian, I want to buy against the most recent structural breakout level. Well, that is now. Are we at the bottom end of the trading range? Absolutement. Right, there's 88.6. Love that level. So could you justify coming in and saying, look, I believe in Litecoin. I believe in Charlie. I want to start establishing an investable position in this idea. And I'm going to put myself on a nice dollar cost averaging plan to get going on this. Perfect. Nothing wrong with that at all. But what that really does mean is you're investing like 0.5% or maybe 1%. And of course, anybody who's taken any of my education knows explicitly what the magic number is, that once you hit this level that you've invested relative to your whole stake that you're working with, you have to stop buying and you just have to let your money work for you. So, we don't want to break that 5% rule, but you could go in like 0.5%, and over like, say, a 6-month, year-long period, maybe once every month or two, you just go in there, buy a 0.5%, buy a 1%, whatever, just slowly accumulating position. Don't have a problem with that at all. Is this a technical buy? I don't think so. And the easiest way for you to sort of see this, and if you watch Larry's video, he's talked about it. The whole tech sector itself, especially with the way energy moves, and of course, on the site we talk about the effect of energy prices on things like purchasing managers' decisions, on things like productivity, and the propensity for technology to do well. In rising energy environments, technology does shitty. So what a surprise. Technology stocks look like shit and they're getting their asses kicked here. And I would argue that crypto is nothing more than just another tech proxy. Mr. Williams, of course, saying that basically these are fallen angels. They have broken. And, what are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at us? Right? So, this market has broken. This is not a bull anymore. When will it be a bull? Well, we showed you earlier. Remember Paul's little trade there. Really simply put, this will be a bull when we start Wing on the other side of this trend line. But you can see we're not even going to get back to this trend line until probably like October. My hunch is we probably do something like that. You could enjoy counter trend rallies back to the trend line. And if you can snipe, kind of like what Paul was doing there on his little altcoins there, and see if you can take trades to try and clip this, that's cool. It's not really something that I would do. I'm a little bit more conservative. I would prefer to see the W, and once the W is actually confirmed on the other side of the trend line, then I want to hunt things like reload zones off of that range and look for W's there. That's more my style of how to invest. So from that perspective, you can see, we might be like, that could be basically almost like 1 year from today. So, as Mr. Williams, you go watch his video, he points out that a lot of the tech stocks have broken. Could they take a year or so to base out? Of course, we all know this. I'm not sure exactly when Litecoin's halving is. But, God, we've talked about this ad nausea with you guys. If you want to make this investing in this Bitcoin stuff really, really easy, all you got to do is just set your calendar watch to somewhere between 6 months and 1 year prior to the next halving event and just start your dollar cost averaging program. It's just that simple. And while we're in the 1 year from the most recent peak, you should probably just leave this shit alone. It sucks. But I don't know. I mean, give me some feedback over there on YouTube. I don't know how many people are actually watching. Do you get value out of me saying something like that? Or is this just a waste of everybody's time? Oh, interesting. Ben says the next halving is for Litecoin is August 23. So actually, I like that, because if we use this same logic, right, when did the bottom come in on Bitcoin and it's halving, right? You can just do this. Anybody can do this. I mean, the cool part about this is it's pretty straightforward. So you can see right here, the bottom, and that is weekly chart, 70 bars. So that's about a year, a little bit more than a year and a half, or 52 weeks in a year. So yeah, about a little less than a year and a half. And then, when did this thing actually W out? It looks like it W'd out over here. So halving event minus the Wing out is somewhere around there, about a year. You want to just start averaging into this thing, heading into that halving event, about a year, year and a half prior to the halving event. It sounds like logic to me. So somebody just mentioned, thank you, Ben, for finding that for me. August, what do you say? August 24th, 2023. So that is right there. So this is interesting because remember we had from top to bottom this last cycle. We said that was about 400 bars. And how long is this? There's the halving event. How long is this? Well, 404 bars. We know that this is a daily chart, so there's 365 in 1 year. So that's about a year and a month, or a year and 2 months. What do you think, guys? Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. What do you think, Ben? All right, Wade says...
I like that idea. All
right, Ben's on board. Fucking A. Sounds good. And the irony of it all with crypto is it's probably going to look like this. So be prepared. Get your fucking bids working, right? Don't chase. Buy W's. Wait for trendline breaks. Everything that I just talked about there. All right? So actually, I kind of like that. You're now getting into a window here. It's probably not just yet, but I could see the end of the summer. Maybe, somewhere around the election. We get that. That's probably your official start that, okay, we can now start accumulating this shit again. And remember on Bitcoin, just to show you this image again, on Bitcoin, this thing loves to bottom right into the end of the year. So, and then this is kind of funny. I don't know how to interpret 2010 because we just don't have that much data to work with. But notice 2014, right at the end of the year, first week or two of the new year, the Rage Quit by Mike Hearn, if I'm not mistaken. Then 2018, you can see bottom was actually into December, January, trough, never look back. So, makes sense to me. I actually like that thinking. And thank heavens, eh? I mean, fuck. Nobody likes a bear. This is such a pain in the ass. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's been one good thing, I will say. It's been very, very helpful to, number one, have these kind of roadmaps. So we get an idea that, okay, after we have our blow off top, literally, and this is a great thing. Let's see if you guys on YouTube are paying attention. What is the one thing that you will hear out of crypto Twitter, social media, all that kind of stuff that tells you that we are at the top of the cycle? One thing, every goddamn time, it's exactly the same. Nothing ever changes. So what is it that's going to happen here? Right here, and it literally happened exactly the same damn thing. What is it that happens here? I'll make it easier on you guys. How many letters? Or how many words? Oh, 4 words. And one of them's a conjunction. That's right. Ben got it. And Wade got it. It's stunning that literally, this time it's dog money. Thank you, Cole. And if anything, if you ever hear Brian, another good one. Somebody says Remy comes out with a music video. As soon as you see Remy come out with a music video about crypto, run for the fucking hills. So, very cliche. I have to say, this space is actually stunningly cliche. So Ben also pointed out that on that Litecoin, the last halvening was August 5th, 2019. So where's that? October, August, right there, eh? August 5th. Yeah, right there. So, interesting how you force yourself to come in and buy there. He even had to go through a bit of pain here after his halvening. So you would have been like, what the fuck, Brian? If anything, I kind of like the idea, of course, you're going to be buying W's. You're going to be trying to buy against the bottom end of range. So that's cool. If we start getting above reload zones, probably you've missed the buying window. But you can even see 61.8 is all the way up there. So technically you could have just been averaging your way in, looking for the insane-o nutso blow off top. So if anything, that's probably a pretty good roadmap of what's going to happen. You can kind of see. I'm anticipating a bit of a rally, sort of like that. And actually, I even remember Litecoin likes to do this. Back in, God, I can't remember what I said. I want to say 2017, 2016. There was a Ponzi where they took Litecoin up to $9 a coin. And this is where this is almost criminal, how you don't have this price action going back here. Because I remember this distinctly. And there was a Ponzi in Litecoin that was being run out of China. And they ran the coin up all the way to $9. And that was something like a 10x move off of the lows. And you can't even see that on this price chart. So frustrating. And this is Stamp too. Stamp's been around forever. I don't know why they do this. Anyway. All right. So I kind of like that thinking. That's not bad thinking here. So whoever mentioned Litecoin, at the very least, you're not coming in and chasing. Like half of my job, and I always tell these people, especially when I was a broker, half of my job is to just stop you people from buying these kind of markets. And we just had this in all this damn DeFi and shit just a year or so ago. I mean, when we were doing this show last fall, everything was up top here. And man, it was like, you can't touch this. You can't buy it. You can't touch it. Don't touch it. And of course, people are like, "Shut up, Brian! I can't make any money if you tell me not to buy something." So they just want to hear somebody tell them to buy something, and so they just don't subscribe to my newsletters. It doesn't surprise me. Anyway. Okay, so that was kind of cool. Let's do one more, and then we'll call it a night. So thank you, whoever asked us to look at Litecoin. That was let's do Great Del Moody's crazy ass thing here. I don't know how the hell you do this. Let's see if I can do this. So 1 0 0 0 0 times Phoenix. What does that say? BIT Phoenix fun USD / bit stamp BTC USD. Let's see what the hell happens. Hope I did that right. We'll copy it just in case it was wrong. All right, survey says, boom. All right, well, that's not so bad. Interesting. What's that low there? 26.37, 26.33. Who can tell me what's this 3-bar pattern called? Right there. This bar, and this bar. Pretty powerful signal. Looks like there's another one over here too. What's that high? 27.66, 27.65. Oh, not quite. Anyway, that's a bullish breakout right there. It's called a key reversal. Oh, look at that chart. So interesting how you're getting those key reversal signals off of this wider W. Actually, it looks to me like there's a bit of a floor here. Right there. Looks like they took it a little bit lower. I suppose with that move, you have to sort of reset your count. So we're there. So you can see up, down, up. We did it with some gaps. So they brought the market back down, filled in the gaps. Cute little tail there. Notice that looks like there's some unfinished business there. If you're going to work a stink bid on this thing, that's the level you probably want to work your stink bid at right there. So 0.00246. This whole bottoming pattern here, of course, confirms on a move above there. So we're still sort of stuck in this bottoming range. I suppose there would be people on the site that would look at this and say, this looks like a shoulder, neckline, head, neckline, shoulder, maybe. Tough one. Obviously open to interpretation. But a bit of a inverted head and shoulders there, mind you. I'm not quite sure. Well, anyway, so we'll just leave it at that for now. Something like that. It's kind of sloppy. What else can we say here? Probably, if this thing can actually break through the top, then we can start thinking about things like upside objectives. So we can start doing things like chaos levels. 2.618, 4.669s. Yeah, it kind of makes sense too. You can see here's Ben and all his buddies sleeping on the couch. All these guys that bought this blindly, they're all trapped up here. And so you can see 877s. If we ever get up into here, they're going to want to get released. And you could argue 4669. That's all those guys. They're all trapped sleeping on the couch. So if we ever get back up in there, they'll also hop off. Probably could also say 2.618. Looks like it's against that high right there. So that's probably a bit of a pivot. And we could probably do things like fibs. Is this a good place to be an accumulator of this name? You go with things like reload zones, 88.6s. Love that in venture cap. That's And I've often been thinking, for the bigger stocks and the bigger markets, we all know Paul and his liking of Mountain Man. And if I was going to be trading like big stocks, Microsoft, Amazon, all that, you don't want to watch that Mountain Man level closely, especially futures. But I'm noticing of late, I'm actually warming up to the idea of actually shifting the reload zone from sort of like the mid of that range, that 70.2 level, and just dragging the box down almost like one standard deviation. Down from 70.2 down to 88.6 as a reload zone. Venture cap reload zone, maybe we'll call it that. Anyway, slice it. They basically took the fluff out of the market. If anything, if you ever see a market that goes straight up like this, what should you say to yourself mentally? What's the expression? 4 words. It goes straight up like this. Thank you, Ben. Too far, too fast. This is not really sustainable. It's just too much. And so as a result, usually 9 times out of 10, it has to come all the way right back down to the bottom. But you're coming in and looking at this now. If you're throwing new money at this, it's not a bad looking name. Can't comment on the fundamentals. Can't really comment on the number of coins out. Don't know if it's a POS or POW. Don't know if it's being, manipulated and screwed over by the banksters. I mean, there's tons and tons of variables in this space. Don't get me wrong. But just from a pure technical perspective, because this was such a fast move up, such a fast move down. Ironically enough, this down move actually looks like it's playing itself out. Same sort of thing, show me some sort of W on the other side of this trend line. We had a potential one there. Didn't really translate into too much of a rally. Tried to bottom in here, failed again. So definitely like the idea that you're not chasing and you're buying value here. I don't know whether, do we have like signs of momentum divergence? It's okay. Higher time frame. Weekly chart. There is your momentum bottom. It's trying to confirm, but it doesn't look like... Oh, yeah, okay, maybe it has. I think there's your weekly momentum bottom. These things usually move in 4s, 8s, 12s, and 16s. So you can kind of see how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on 5th it stalls out. Right? And then down 1, 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, we hit the 0 line. Then punch through the 0 line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we had to take a pause. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have to take another pause. So maybe watch for some sort of pause here. I don't really like the look of that. That's a weekly. Just keep in mind, there's your trend now. So we could easily come down into there. It's getting a little bit long in the tooth. And for heaven's sakes, if you get an M up here, be careful. But hey, at least it's in bullish divergence now, right? Yeah, because you're making lower lows in price, higher lows in the histogram. So that's good. That's a good sign. Willie was stupid down here. It's interesting how we didn't really translate into too much of a rally. But you can see the momentum is pushing up, and you can see RSI Bollinger Bands. We often talk about this on the site. Sjord really likes this tool, where you can see they're compressing, and so that actually says that, hey, there's some sort of big move coming. And considering we've got that 2-month window coming up here, where, I think I showed you off of the Decennial reports and all that kind of stuff, we could enjoy a nice little smart little rally here from the end of July through about the middle of August, we'll say. So is there some sort of fundamental driver here that could pop this thing up? Could you get yourself a double off here? I think so. It looks like it. You know, just the price alone. You know, Paul and his W's, right? You might say, well, gee whiz, that sure looks like a W to me. You could even change this to a line chart. And right now you can actually see grade 3 English teacher. She likes the W's. They're looking pretty good here. And could we realistically eke out a W or a double if you, let's say, bought the clothesline level here, which would be 29.24. And you can't say you couldn't get fills. Looks like there's lots of opportunity to get filled here. So 29.24 times 2 is basically about 6,000. So could we get a rally up into this area here sometime over that rally window? Well, you can see there's a bit of a gap here that needs filling in. That's not a bad price objective. 2.618 is probably going to stall us out against this wick here and the top of value. So maybe this is the kind of thing where you let that pop, let it hit the 2.618, let them maybe have a little bit. Maybe work your order to buy the position back at your entry and see if you can like maybe do a few sort of swings back and forth here. It's not a terrible idea. You're definitely thinking in an okay direction. And like I said, I can't comment on the fundamentals. So anyway, I do like this gap to be filled in at some point down the road. Just you never know how long this could take, right? But this kind of looks like a big head and shoulders here, so it goes something like boom, 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 rally back up to your 4.669, and boom, and then into next year 2023, probably more like that. That August rally peak, then your pullback into the election. And then maybe we start our bull run like over here somewhere. There's January. I could see something along those lines. That wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah, get out there. Maybe if you're lucky, you might be able to bang out a nice little double here, rally up into this gap, up into the 4.669. Get yourself a free position, and then, sky's the limit after that. And if this thing ever gets its act together, holy moly, it's got a long way to go back up top. So the irony of it all is that you could realistically do foggy buggies off of that level. Probably doesn't come in until like 2024, 2025, next big bull run. But you can see foggy buggies will take us up top. All right. 2.618 takes us back into these areas. Probably a whole bunch of guys trapped on the couch. Interesting how you can see this is like a Benkoff check going the other direction. So that's a big sell signal there. Notice that's right off that 2.618 level. So that's obviously a pretty important level. Probably also too, if we do fibs going right off of the old high. My hunch is these Foggenbaum levels line up nicely with fib levels. So if we go RLZ and others. So this is what we affectionately like to call Collins pump chaser zone. In this case, it would be the dump chaser zone. So I could very easily see a significant resistance, 38.2. There's a bunch of Ben's buddies all sleeping on the couch there. 4.669, 50% of the entire range. And then notice, when this bull really gets going, of course, you've heard Brian talk lots about 786s. Notice also, too, this huge wick right here. There's a whole bunch of trap bears all in that wick. As soon as we get up into that area, they'll be more than happy to hop off as well. So there's your roadmap. What do you think, Great Delmidi? I think this was Great Delmidi's name. If you want to go and like buy Lambos, and actually this is also a really good example of one of these D volume profiles. Of course, Ben's going to be studying this in the level 2, where basically you're coming in and you're buying right at value here. So you're long this name where all the other smart money guys are long. And that's where you really want to be. You don't want to be invested when the name looks like this. That stupid dog money. That's what just drives you so nuts about this. I mean, who in their right mind, if we just pull up just really simple volume profile here, who in their right mind is buying up here? Nobody who's taken any of my education programs has any business buying when the profile looks like that. Because you know, the goddamn thing's got to come right back down to value. So that's exactly what I see going on here. Is the guys who bought here, that wasn't very wise. The people that are buying here, that's where the smart money's long. Stupid thing's probably going to go zipping right up. Hit 877. Great Del Midi goes and buys his Lambos. Woo! That's sticking rich. The profile looks like this, and then it comes all the way right back down to the bottom. Rinse and repeat. Capitalism 101. All right. What do you think? Is there any value there? Whoever asked me to look at that. It's kind of a fun name. 1,000 times fun USD divided by BTC. How on earth we wrap our head around the math of that, I have no idea. But anyway, kind of cool to see charts are charts, eh? So I will, in fact, here we'll do our venture cap reload zone. We'll do it up there. And there you go. That's what I think your picture looks like. There's a bit of money to be made on this name, whoever asked me to look at this. You're definitely thinking in the right direction. I have no idea about the fundamentals of this thing, though. So, okay. Well, what do you think? It's a little after 8 o'clock. I hope we enjoyed ourselves. Here's a nice little PMA image from our buddy Cole, who I think is a pretty damn smart trader. He's also, of course, into astrology and GAN. And there is his grand prognostication. Ouch. Thanks, Cole. This is Ethereum versus USD. And if I understand correctly, and again, I'm not quite sure how you value one of these ETHs once it goes to POS. Is there any value to these things at all? I don't think so. So, oh boy, get ready, folks. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the offering, got some value out of this. Great to see some nice feedback there on YouTube. Of course, all new students, welcome to the education program. Now get to work! Or you're going to get detention. Make you stand in the corner with a dunce cap on. That would be a tactic my mother would use. Anyway, PMA for the win. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out. We have the 30-day trial, of course, on the website. So you're more than welcome to come and just poke around and kick the tires and get to know the crew a little bit. And the great part about it is on a daily basis, we've got these really cool daily brief videos. So Brian babbles on for an hour or two every day. Gives you some nice insight as to what I'm thinking. And, of course, we got all our proprietary tools just humming along. And we've got our school program up and running. And everybody's doing a good job learning and becoming better traders. So that all works well. So, okay, I think the only thing left for us to do is let's go and make some grand predictions as to what the hell's going to happen over the coming week. And who should we start with? Why don't we start with Paul? Do you feel like making a grand prediction here? We're going up, down, sideways, inside out, backwards? What are we going to do?
Same week. The last week.
You'll still
last one. Yeah, I'm still bullish.
All right. Makes that pretty easy.
Yep.
Ben, what's your call?
That's my.
Ben, where's Ben? Ben's over here. All right, so
yeah.
We got to put Paul here. Beg your pardon. And actually, I guess we got to go here. Winner. Ben, what do you think? Are you also going to stick with +1, or do you want to change your vote?
Maybe I'll go -1.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Turned bearish now on us, have you? All right. So that gets a big yellow. Or orange, right? I guess orange. Is that the right color? Is that the same one? Looks like it, eh?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
All right. And Brian, since I was just right, that means I won't be right for another probably 2 or 3 months. So what should we say is going to happen here? Believe it or not, actually, I don't mind the idea of the market working higher. The only problem is we got to get through this damn May-June window, eh? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? I think I probably just hate to say it, but yeah, I'll go with a 1 because I think we're going to be slightly uppy. I don't think we're going to be downy, but I don't think it's going to be rip-roaring. So I'll join Paul, and I will go a slight upward bias. So let's see what happens. And actually, I was going to move this out, wasn't I? Well, I'll try and do that after we're done recording. Okay, guys. Well, closing thoughts. Any closing thoughts from you tonight, Paul?
Well, the same message every week. Manage your risk. Just trade your setups.
All right.
For that.
A man of few words, but powerful words themselves. We'll leave off. Ben, any kind of closing thoughts? Of course, Ben's probably going to ask everybody to say a nice little PMA prayer for Liam, which I think is so awesome. But aside from best wishes for Liam, any kind of thoughts about the market from you tonight?
No, I would just say stick around, and these are the times where, as Brian says, today's bear market sets up tomorrow's bull market. So it's a lot of people that go quiet or drop off the face of the earth around these times, but it's a good time to be involved and be in it.
Yeah, if anything, I like that thinking. Right, is now is not the time when people are, extolling the wonderfulness of crypto. So ironically enough, now is actually the time when you want to be doing your research and finding the stories and the projects that you think actually have merit. And kind of like this fund, nobody in the market is talking about this one right now, but looking at that, probably a smart guy is probably starting to accumulate this and just getting ready that when we do this kind of behavior again, and we will, you're in a position to take profits and, of course, buy those Lambos and all that. So I like that thought. Good advice there, Ben. All right, why don't we leave it at that? So today is Wednesday evening. Of course, I have my Thursday afternoons with Liam. If you're not familiar, Liam is, of course, my son. He's the love of my life. And just FYI, if you want to get to know Liam, I put videos of Liam and everything and he and I do together on my Facebook page. So there's my boy. That was about 10 years ago. He's 21. He'll be 22 this September. This is us. We're on the Pro Rock Throwers Tour 2022. You can see there. He's just about to run in. He's going to sink a cruise ship here. Comes into the picture. I thought it was kind of a funny video to do. So anyway, get to know a little bit about Liam. So this is what I'll be doing on Thursday. And of course, Liam is ASD, low functioning, so he doesn't talk. He's a very, very basic kind of guy. He doesn't understand crypto or money or anything like that. So he just enjoys throwing rocks in the water like a boss. Anyway, so if you want to get to know Liam a little bit, feel free to pop on over to my site. This Facebook page. And this is all. Actually, I even set up this Bitcoin donation page for him. Liam has his own wallet, and that wallet is nothing more than if the healthcare system falls apart in our society, he has Bitcoin to pay for services. So anything that anybody's ever donated to his particular wallet and his page, I just leave it there. I've never touched the wallet, and it just slowly accumulates over time. So thank you very much, everybody who's done that. Half of the reason why we did this this video itself was I wanted to actually get a booth up and running in Decentraland. And actually, I'm super excited now because I do have a whole bunch of these manas over there on Phoenix. And the price of these booths over on Decentraland was just so expensive. But now, there is the price of mana. It's come all the way right back down to the bottom. So you guys went and actually donated a little bit to our Ethereum wallet address. That is, I think this is it. Right here. And anything that's donated to that goes specifically towards building that booth. And basically, I'd just like to have these videos running 24/7 inside Decentraland. So I'm super stoked that all of this sort of nonsense about Decentraland has come out of the market. And actually, I might even seriously, even when I'm done the video tonight, go and look at prices and see whether maybe we can afford to actually go and buy that plot of land now. So, thank you very much for your contributions. If you did find any value in this video, like I showed you, the ETH donation address is on the video description. Hit the like button, share, ring Colleen's bell, all that kind of fun stuff. As some people say on the YouTube, it blesses the Google algorithm, whatever the hell that means. And of course, like you're saying there, RT, everybody just say a nice little karmic prayer that Liam's in good spirits, and then he and I can go and have an awesome afternoon. I noticed that when you guys do that, it's remarkable how he generally is in pretty good spirits. And when I don't ask you guys, which I didn't really do last week, and he was kind of bitchy this past week. So it works. So thank you, RT. And thank you, everybody. Raphael, thank you, Great Del Moody. You guys are awesome. I love the fact that you guys... and, of course, Ben here is my wicked cheerleader on the site, reminding everybody to think about that karma. I love that stuff. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. Gonna try and stop talking now. Have yourselves a great afternoon, evening. I'd ask Paul to do it, but he always tells me to fuck off, so I'm not gonna go that route. Paul, well, no, beg your pardon. Ben, if you feel like taking us out of here, the only thing left for us to say is...
Bye for now.
Thank you, sir.